you guys are right on it. The customers have changed. The customers have changed, and you're always out ahead of everyone else. And I'm really excited for Anaheim. So I just want to say that real quick.
Let me just say a few things on that. You know, when we're in real estate school, before you met me, even maybe some of you are still doing this today, but our focus, what we've been always taught to do is advertise two things, right? We advertise ourselves and we advertise our listings. And neither of them work very well. Okay, when you're advertising yourself, like most realtors, you know, you're advertising your brand, the Remax balloon, your logo. You're talking about your experience and how hard you work, and you've got 17 years experience and whatever. We know that type of branded advertising that our competitors use, and perhaps some of you have been engaged in the past, is really not effective at all. So what we teach you here in Craig Proctor world is how to brand yourself with your unique selling proposition. In fact, we started an entire company, a real estate brokerage called Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, because of Google search, and just having your USP as your company is just plain like a good idea. The other thing that they teach us to do, other than advertising ourselves and our brand and our company logo. So in my case, it was like the Remax balloon. God, I look back at all the dumb things I did back then, but that's what they told me to do. You know, take a picture in the middle of a cornfield, you know, and say, when you list with Craig Proctor, he's in a field by himself.
Outstanding in his field.
Yeah, outstanding in his field. Then there was one on the railroad tracks, and it says, when you list your home with Craig Proctor, you're on the right track. So corny stuff in my first year in real estate, but you know, who was I to question it? The other thing they teach us to do is to advertise our listings. So when you advertise your listing, there's a couple of bad things that happen. First of all, advertising your listing is an example of you advertising what you have instead of offering what it is that buyers and sellers want. So hang with me on this, but that's what we're basically taught to do is I advertise what I have. I have Craig Proctor. I have the cornfield. I have the Remax balloon, and I have a cutesy slogan, you know, whatever my slogan is, that's what I thought marketing was about. Then I'm advertising my listings. And I'm going to advertise my 2-bedroom home on a corner lot with an in-ground pool that should have been filled in 30 years ago. And so most buyers do not want the house that you're advertising. You know that, right? It's a very tiny, narrow appeal. So what we're going to do is, as Mike just mentioned, we're replacing advertising a house or even a list of properties with a service. So the VIP Home Finder service is actually a service that you're offering. You're not offering a home because a home can easily be qualified. You folks already know this. Probably 90% of the ad calls and sign calls you get result in it's too big, it's too small, it's in the wrong location, it's too much money or whatever. And as you've noticed, when the buyer eliminates the property, they also try to eliminate you. So what we're offering here with the VIP Home Finder, which has been around forever, and back in the day, it used to be a list of distress sales and bank foreclosures. We don't have a lot of those today. But what's really great is we do have a system to help all of you find unlisted and off-market properties for your buyers. Now, some marketplaces are really, really tight still with inventory. Mike, I was talking to Nathan Clark, and he says the biggest problem we have here in Rhode Island is we have sellers that want to move, but they're afraid to list their home for sale because they can't find another house. So how many of you are in a marketplace like that where inventory is still tight? So you have a home seller that says, yeah, man, I'd love to move. But that home seller wouldn't list their home right now today with you. Even if you got them an offer for $50,000 or $100,000 over what their home is worth, they're reluctant to list it because they'd be like, well, where am I going to go? Well, you've got the answer now. What Nathan Clark is doing is he's finding out what the buyer wants. He goes into those neighborhoods and he finds home sellers that haven't quite yet listed their home for sale. Does the buyer love this? Yeah, the buyer loves it. The buyer is the only buyer that knows about this property. The seller loves the convenience of this. So some of you are doing this. Some of you are curious about this. I am going to go through all the nitty gritty details when we get to Anaheim, because a lot of you have questions about this. Craig, aren't we breaking some kind of rules? Oh, isn't this a pocket listing? Aren't I going to? Nope, it's not a pocket listing because we're not listing the property. Well, what do I say? How do I get the unlisted properties? We're going to go through it all in detail. And then you're going to hear from our members that are successfully doing this, because I'm going to lay it all out, but then I have to give you proof that there's other people other than Craig that are successfully doing this, just so, there's no skepticism in the room. I want you to hear from agents making a lot of money doing these things that we're talking about. Let's get back to Chat GPT. Mike,
Sure.
Give us some examples of how you've used it.
So yeah, our marketing department uses that. A lot of the things people were talking about when you open up that question to everyone, blogs is a great way to use it. Website landing pages, metadata suggestions. I don't think anyone mentioned that. I saw a bunch of stuff scrolling by, but you can get kind of ideas of what you should tag certain websites or landing pages with based on the AI's metadata suggestions. Property descriptions are good. Video scripts are good. Text and email templates. Now, a caveat, what we're doing is we don't take it at face value. We don't just copy what it does and put it directly into any of these places. We always have a person actually going through it and then Craig Proctorizing it, making good offers, making sure there's a call to action, making sure there's something next step for them to take, making sure we stand out. So Todd had kind of mentioned earlier, and this is what I've seen is, I think this is going to create a lot more kind of sameness or vanilla-ness in the marketplace, right? So I think agents tend to be lazy. They're not really good at marketing. They don't spend a lot of time on their marketing. I think this is going to be an easy way for them to just say, hey, can I just write a property description for me? Do this for me. And I think we're going to see property descriptions, emails, text going out to the customers. They're going to be very, very similar in the coming years if more and more agents start relying on this. So I think you always got to go through it and make sure you change something. Keep in mind the benefit to the person you're sending it to. Make sure you speak in benefits, have a call to action, and have a good offer for them to make sure that they're going to respond to you. Otherwise, it's going to be noise. It's going to be just like every other real estate agent that they're getting stuff from, right? And that's something you've always been really good at, is looking at the real estate industry completely different and always keeping in mind the benefit of the person you're trying to talk to, and keeping WeFM in your head of like, what's in it for them? How can I speak to that? Other agents won't do that. I think they'll just spit out whatever Chat GPT tells them, and you're going to see a lot of sameness, I think, coming up over the next couple of years.
Okay, so really good advice to use it as a tool, almost a junior assistant, but you definitely want to make sure you eyeball it because it's not always correct. How many of you have, you've found inaccuracies, things that are just plain incorrect when you've it's spitting out things that you just don't approve of. So yeah, it's not there yet. I don't think I'm too much of a control freak to not look at things like that, but it might give you a head start. Yeah. Some people are typing in, what is Chat BTP? It's Chat GPT. And that's why we're having our session here today, bring everyone up to speed. Now at the conference in Anaheim, we're going to be talking about a lot of new technology. Okay. Look, you know what you know, and there's things that you don't know. That's why we're coming together for these meetings. So I wrote down a few things today. Many of you are using it for property ads, feature sheets, Facebook ads, recruitment ads. Anything that we should be aware of, you think, Mike, in your experience?
It's what I've found is it's only as good as the input, right? So if you just input pretty standard stuff, you'll get a standard output. So if you're putting in direct response marketing, or even saying that, or saying Craig Proctor, or putting in stuff like price or trade, buy this home, I'll buy yours, move up to any one of my listings, I'll buy yours, stuff like that we've been trained on, you'll get better results from it. But if you just say, write me an ad for or property description, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, again, that they're just going to look, I think, very similar. I think it's interesting to see what the developers of the AI, and I guess AI will take on its own life, right? That's the whole point of it. of what they think we do. Right. So when you just say something pretty generic, like write me a property ad for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, or I had sent Todd some things like write a Facebook post of why I'm the best option to use as the local realtor with experience, and it's just all these buzzwords of experience, integrity, honesty, you can count on me. It's just all this stuff that just really does not resonate with the people, but it's just interesting to see. Okay, that's what the creators of Chat GPT think we are as an industry.
Well, they're taking it from what's out there. So that's
yeah,
what's
the
out
majority,
there.
right? The majority of the majority. Rarely will it be something exclusive or in the minority.
Right.